Welcome to this slow unpacking of this bundle of Commander Legends 2 Baldur's Gate. And as we watch this, I will explain what we're doing. First of all, we get some tokens and some information about the set. So we see people playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then Baldur's Gate, the upper city, lower city. So what the city is all about. Then we see some kind of useless tokens, but what we will be doing is going through this pack and then see what's in there, like this dice, but also those packs, of course, the meat of this thing. And then we will be going through them, showing some deep dives along the way, shallow surfs more likely, and then later we will be doing some deeper dives on some of the cards. So you see here that we unpack this, we see Wand of Wonder. I think this is a nice moment for a shallow surf for this. As we go through this unpacking, we will find cards that might need a bit more exploration, as the channel is about showing the smaller things. Wand of Wonder, for example, is a mystical weapon for 4 mana. The card taps for 4 mana. Your opponents exile cards until they exile an instant or sorcery. You then roll a d20. You may cast either one of those without paying the mana cost when you roll 1 through 9, 2 of those when you roll 10 through 19, or all 3 on a critical success when you roll 20. A bit of a flavor miss, as we shall soon see. The art of this promo shows us the wand, a petrified being because the wand could do that, some gemstones because the wand could summon those, and a butterfly because the wand could transform you into one. This wand is a blessing and a curse because it could do anything. I think therefore it would be better if the wand would force you to cast 1, 2 or 3 spells. The actual D&D wand would let you roll a D100, which is why the D20 is a flavor loss. You would have to choose a target first. Then the wand would choose one of many effects and it would definitely cast it. This D100 is a fan favorite for how many random scenarios it could create. The wand could cast fire, wind or farts. Wind or farts is already enough randomness, but this wand, that could be anything, also could let you read the thoughts of your target. Or it could let you believe something awesome happened while you were stunned for the duration. It could summon a random animal not under your control, which could be a rhino, elephant or rat. You could change your size massively, make yourself invincible, or you could indeed cast gems from the wand. This randomness is what made it fun, and being able to go back on your words by not casting the spells is a shame. Still a fun effect in Magic, just not happy with. And we see a lot of lands, and as these are pretty interesting, I mean, they have a lot of story behind them and you could do some adventures with them. I think it will be interesting, as there are so many, to mostly do a deep dive on this as well. So when I have finished this, I'll put a link up in the video. It's on the top somewhere there. So we'll get to that later. And we will be unpacking all of these packs. Listen to that. Amazing. And I've put this in slow motion so we can get through this at a nice pace. So what we see is an art card here first, very dark. We can see that the theme is dark. We are in a dungeon, it should feel dangerous. And then we have one of those forests that we will get into later. We have Erinus, Gloomstalker. We have Skanos, Dragonheart, who likes to get in with big dragons and become stronger as well. Pegasus, Guardian, likes to protect. Guardian Naga the same, but mostly against damage. Then your Temple's Under Attack is one of those adventure cards where you have to choose one of 2 options. It's interesting because you have a moment and get to choose like you would in the games. Mist Dragon, they have improved on the Cone of Ice. Here we see a background, Sword Ghost Sailor. Interestingly, Jaheira, we should do some of sort of dive on that. They make tokens stronger, so that's pretty cool, enabling them to make mana. Ganax, another interesting creature, not too much lore about them. Volo, of course, first mythic, already a different type of art. Not, well, they're very interesting at least, but they have a book already. I think it's interesting about them that well, they have their own books in real life, so they have a lot of lore behind them in that way. Next pack, and this one might surprise you with what we have in here. I forgot how wild the second pack was, even compared to the first where we already got the mythic. But we start with some art. You can see that this Dungeons & Dragons art returns in many ways, but they have their own art first as well. I put them into these stacks. I heard that people like that. It's not useful for me at all. But people seem to like seeing which mythics you've pulled with which rares. Here we see some more. These moss diamonds and all the diamonds for that matter are really interesting to me. Here we see the white one, green one, sorry, moss. It's not white, it's green. But they look beautiful and they are very useful as 2 mana rocks. So I think that's really cool. I really like the first arts a bit better, but they're cool still. We see Deathbringer, who likes it when stuff doesn't get removed too much. Getting another human took some time. This Deathbringer wants other permanents to leave again. Maybe he just wants to be alone. But he does get very angry when no one leaves. We can see this from him dealing damage with his own power. What you see here is not just another butcher that likes to be alone this time. We see a butcher that's still so good at his job that instead of being sacrificed himself, he takes the herd to become a huge mob boss. He likes big swords, clubs and putting spikes on sticks. Very metal about him, you can put him on fire, then freeze and electrocute him and he would feel nothing. I put on some lights for you to make it a little bit cozier, but we see more choices. We see Coronation of Chaos, which shows you that people cannot block and then they get goaded, so there is a lot of chaos there. You can see that I've put it a bit slower so that we can look at these a bit better. I mean, it's slow unpacking after all. So enjoy it. Burnest Heart, the new art is so cute. I think that's nice. The cast down is also a very much returning thing, but here I get a bit wild and you can't really read what's going on here per se, but it's follow again, but this time in the normal art. So again a mythic in the first two packs, and that was really weird to me, but also weird that it's the same mythic one after one. So that's a bit weird. We see a foil agent of the Shadow Thieves. I think we should do a deep dive about that as well later on. Elder Brain, which can steal a lot of cards from your opponents, which is also always fun, but not for your opponents, of course. And then we have this saddle of the Cavalier of Minsk and Boo, and Minsk said in the flavor that he really wanted a small saddle for his hamster. I think that's really cute of him too. We see the initiative as well. I think it's the only one that we get from all of these packs, but that's a new mechanic for this set. But that's really cute that Minsk wanted this small saddle for his big hamster. So should have gotten a bigger saddle as well for the hamster as well. Love that sound. So always we'll listen to that. We see one of the sort of signed art cards. I don't know why some of them are signed. Maybe it's because they want them to be collectible, like sort of foil version already of it. Always make everything foil because the price of the cards will go up, and that's useful for wizards. See another land, we will get into those later. We see Sky Diamond, very nice. They enter tapped, but 2 mana rocks are way better than 3 mana ones, because then you can play them on 2 and then on 3 you will have an extra mana already instead of having to pay for your new mana rock, of course. So I think they're pretty underrated, honestly, but they're massively useful. We see some gates, which are very much in the set because, well, there's a lot of support for it as well. We see Bane's signature spell. Many important characters have been keeping well, the train going with their signature spells, and I think that's a good thing from War of the Spark, a good thing that we got from there. We see here Fall. I don't think they have a lot of lore themselves, but they are from Candlekeep, which does have a lot of lore, and you can play in there, of course. Stone Skin gives a creature plus 10 toughness, 0 power, but that could be relevant for some toughness decks. We see here Flaming Fist. It's something you can become, and Master Chef, same thing. Your commanders could become a Master Chef, meaning basically that they become good at cooking and can grow your creatures. Reflecting Pool, really cool, really good as well. Good land because it could give you any types of mana that you could produce already. So if you are looking for that new, we see, by the way, the charcoal diamond. But Reflecting Pool, really good for how it gives you more mana. Charcoal diamond, really nice to have, just because you want all those diamonds, and you can almost always use them in some decks, at least in monocolored ones. They are really good. So, really can't. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's good. Should make that ultra slow motion. I think that will be better because the sound will be even more there. More dragon art, we always like that. A mountain, we'll get into those later, but this one is foil. I think this is the only foil basic land that we got, but I like full art ones better, but the stories are nice. Casting dragons with flash is really relevant for such big creatures. You can keep a lot of mana open because of that. An impetus, they keep going with the goading, of course. That is one of their favorite mechanics. Don't know how many people really like the mechanic themselves, but it's interesting that they keep making more of it. Lightning Bolt's back, really cool. In common as well, 1 mana instant that can deal 3 to anything. That's insane. Here we see the commander for the toughness creatures. It helps your creatures assign combat damage as if with their toughness instead of their power, of course, which they used to do. So really good with Stone Skin, of course, and funny to see as well. I think they have some abilities with that as well, and you can see that this commander, for example, can choose a background. Slaughter the Strong is back as well with new art, and then we have another background, Far Traveler, which gives blinking abilities. Lazel also likes that a bit. If you would put one, they like acrobatics, at least, getting out of the battlefield and stuff. Lazel is a warrior exiled by the Githyanki, a people long enslaved by mind flayers, who have thus become ruthless in their pillaging and raiding. It also gives them slight psychic power. We see this lady first in our game from Baldur's Gate, where she was taken by such a mind flayer and she would soon turn into one, or so she believed. She apparently survived, and apparently I have some games to play, but for now we know that she gives extra counters on your creatures. Perhaps she's good at training the creatures, or more likely it reflects on her being the first to teach us how to fight. Lazel has many skills. One of them is athletics. It helps characters climb, jump and swim as the name suggests, making Lazel a nimble fighter. In the instant here, we see her jumping over a beam. The card itself is even more awesome than the creature. It lets you flicker all your non-token creatures once or twice depending on your d20 roll. This is awesome, it's just not compatible with the creature Lazel. Individually, awesome cards. Here we see Rosat again, this time in foil edge. So if you want this as your commander, I think this is a really cool version for it. It looks beautiful. Let's see, we shuffle the mountain around and we see Witch's Eye, a weird one. It's from the list. Again, I think the only one from the list that we got, but it enables your equipped creature to scry for, because you tap it, I think. It's gone now, can't look at it again. There it is again. But yeah. It allows your creature to scry every turn, at least. So that's a good ability for... Wait. Yeah, let's go. Elder Brain again, this time in different art. Looks, a second foil land, I didn't know. I was unaware. Here we have Abdul Adrian, which exiles any number of creatures until he leaves the battlefield, but also gives you 1/1 tokens back so that you can defend yourself still. You can see from this card that this dragon is a butcher, and we do not canonically know a lot more from this dragon. Of course, you can imagine that humans are to dragons what cows are to humans. You can now imagine what kind of meat Drakkars butchers. But this should also teach you why Drakkars does not think he's evil. To a human he is. Defeating him is often an early quest players can go through for how simple he is. Drakkars himself is honest, but his goons are not, and other than breathing fire like a dragon, Drakkars is not more than a brawler type enemy. Him being a brawler that's honest to his friends shows why he strengthens dragons. His flavor is explained by the fact that he keeps getting bodies to chop up, and that's why he doesn't run out of meat. Earth Tremor. Should have looked at the camera here. Here we go. Arms of Atar. The beginning of... Can't read it fast. Lulu. Thanks for saving me. A Holyphant, so it's an angel elephant, so that is really cute. An angel elephant, that is cute. Lulu is a 4-mana flying 3/2 in white. At the end of your turn, she puts a +1 counter on every one of your tapped creatures, if a permanent left your battlefield this turn. This could mean dying, but it could mean blinking too, like we saw with acrobatics earlier. This little elephant angel was the mount of Zariel, who used to be an angel too. Zariel is now quite the opposite. Lulu, luckily, is still a Care Bear who values friendship second to most. Remember Tarknar from a previous deep dive? Well, Tark was the servant of a demon named Jinogu, who fought Zariel and therefore Lulu before Zariel and Lulu lost. But Lulu managed to hide the prize of the battle in a fortress of pure friendship. Yes, really. Lulu wandered the first ring of hell for a long time until she met Rakshasa, who we'll meet again later. Just remember that Rakshasa Mahadi is a cat demon. This cat demon then removed many of Lulu's memories. Stripped her of her memories, she was handed back to Zariel, who had now become one of the most powerful devils of Avernus, the first ring of hell. Even though she was one of the worst, Zariel still would not let her old friend be hurt. Not remembering her former friend, Lulu lived happy ever after, like we see here. She now enjoys seeing others safe. Like we see here, blinking, one of the triggers that helps Lulu, is thematically the ability that lets you save a creature. In this case, the baby Pegasus. Lulu loves seeing friendship and seeing people saved. If only she knew how many people she saved so before. I love that she was shielded by her old friend and wonder whether Zariel can still be saved too. Here we have some more. There are a lot of characters in this, and well, we have to go through most of them. I think it will be interesting to look at them at least, see some of these traders, stuff like that. See, the problem is that everyone's game can be different, so you might have had other experiences with these characters. Her card works with experienced characters, which cannot easily be affected by others. She gets such a counter every end step in one of the This time, this is not a cute beginning. It shows us how she lives with friends, which is otherwise a rather basic character when you first. So much is implied. We see her award ability that nods towards her caring for herself most, and then her power to grant power according to the amount of experience coverage you have to increase the strength of a governor not caring for their governors. Mahadi takes in lost service and self thus at the end step you get the pressure for every creature alive. Useful ability for in the same first ring of health. We know mostly that he only casts a ring, and it reflects in his card's abilities. Another background here, Amber Crystal Omal. Whenever they attack, you discard your whole hand and then draw a card for each player you attacked. A second Wand of Wonder, this time the basic art version instead of the promo one. I think this one is cooler actually, really interesting card as we have seen before. And some rules or like a mini game or something that is always all about opening a lot of packs, which is really weird to me that they want you to open more packs while you just opened the pack apparently. Like, what am I well, I have some packs left here, but usually you don't have that. So you open one pack and then the pack tells you to open another pack. That's really weird. Here we see another dungeon. You kind of need all of them because you need to know what your, well, you can choose all of them, so well, you need all of them. More art stuff. Here's another planes. Talked about that. We will talk about that in another video. Kobold, of course, wants to attack, and then the goat creature. This lady likes tokens coming in, and then she can filter your draw for you, so that's really interesting. Oh well, it is strong at least. Contraband Livestock, I think this is really good. 2 mana instant exile a creature, and then they get maybe a 4/4 back if they are lucky, and otherwise a 2/2. That's insane. Another Anari, so cool that we got both versions of that art, that creature too. This one works with auras, so not sure if there are a lot of them in this set, but there you go. Mazzy Fenton, True Sword Paladin, is a halfling who works with auras. She was the sword of the god of war for halflings. Of course, the halfling, like any true hobbit, are peaceful creatures, and this god of war was more a god of defense. The deity favored short swords and short people as weapons, but the good god could also offer boons to his followers, mainly to the true swords, of which Mazzy is one. These true swords live to fight with these boons and to share them around. We see this in Mazzy's ability to give enchanted creatures 2 power and trample for their aggressive retaliation skills. Mazzy's own skill was to instill the same bravery, but here's it's implied that this power also came from her god. She also returns an aura and boons, which might be because these boons often come in the form of weapons. She's also a companion to Abdel Adrian, who we might do a deep dive on later. Another card from Candlekeep, just the background this time. Duke Ulder Raven Guard is a really cool combat commander that gives your creatures myriad. I think we will have to do a deep dive on Caves of Chaos Adventure. I think they are really interesting for how you can attack and then get stuff off your top of your library and then maybe play them for free even. This was what I was talking about. Lazelle's Acrobatics allows you to blink all of your creatures once or even twice if you roll higher than 9, I believe. That's a really cool card from Lazelle, and I think it's even more interesting than the commander herself. This signature spell is really cool for her, and I love the art as well, how she's jumping over such a beam or something. I think it's really cool. Had to stop again. Keep talking. I don't know, maybe I used to find it hard to talk a lot, but now it's like therapeutic to talk to you guys. But yeah, more mana rocks. We like those. 4 mana this time, so way weaker in many ways. It does give you 2 mana, but you don't really care about that. You want to go fast. You can get you pay 4 mana for 2 mana, or you pay 2 mana twice for 2 mana. It's the same thing. 2 plus 2 is 4. Quick math. Drillworks Mole gives you your mole and your commander a +1 counter. So it's cool that you have more cards that work with commanders. Owlbear Shepherd, one of the 2 cards that like owlbears, but this one just wants you to have a lot of power and then gives you cards. Viconia is a lady, believe it or not. She lets you return a creature at random from your grave to your hand if you have 4+ creatures in there. Remember that? 4+. Another elf that likes to resurrect. This one came from the actual drow city of Menso Baranzan, which you can remember from Drist Do'Urden's deep dive from before. Remember how Drist was very special because he was a male drow from Menso Baranzan with renown. Well, the lady Viconia follows her culture and has killed 4 husbands already. This is probably where the 4+ creature class comes from. Viconia was also banished from her city for essentially refusing to do something evil. Yes, after killing 4 husbands, she wanted to save someone. She was banished from many upper cities as well for her heritage, which is also what Drist experienced, and now she still has not found a home, as she has burned them all. Raised by Giants is a card that gives your commander creatures the ability to become a 10/10 base power and toughness, so that's insane. Here we have the acrobatics again. We have a foil version in the first one. Now this one is on foil. We see a dragon, one of the first dragons that we saw from here. We have another one, I think, with the flash guy. This one is one of the cycle of stone type dragons. Yeah, good soup. Also noticing now right now that I will have to cut through some of my talking later. Here we have the Candlekeep Researcher again. Sky Diamond, we like those. That's the blue one, I'm sure of that. Because the sky is blue or something. When these die, if it's blocking, draw a card. We like creatures that draw their own cards back. Worms Crossing Patrol, really good for my humans deck, because it has Myriad and we'll get a lot of 1/1s in there for not too much mana. Skullwinder, really good as well, can get you a card back and can give your opponent one back as well, which is economics, you can trade that. I heard from MTG Lore Seeker that Baba Lysaga was a really powerful character once, but now it's not. Witches that sacrifice permanents. We know many examples of them in Magic the Gathering. Baba Lysaga sacrifices an evil number of 3 to make people lose 3 life and letting you gain 3 life and then draw 3 cards. That is, on its own, insane if you are a deck with many token-like permanents. This formerly beautiful lady would obtain immortality through sacrificing the life force out of others, and it's reflected in her effect. It's not that the sacrifices fed her, it was more the magic inside of her that needed fuel. By the way, the hut that she stands in here can move around the lands magically. And then Harbreeze, the person that we saw before, the cook, this time in foil edge. And we see that we have multiple rares. It's a bit weird to see those because their value will be lower as well. But so don't take it as a plus side for how much money you will make from it. It just means that the cards themselves will have less value on their own. But I think that's a good thing. And with that, peace.